Hey guys, Lord Sora here. As the season 8 is finally here, we're back to blasting with Blood Wave. I have put a very detailed build guide yesterday and I also have a very detailed written max roll guide. Both links will be in description, so make sure to check those out. I'm literally packing my bags for a work trip and won't get to be playing again until next week, so I wanted to quickly drop a day 1 update, how the build feels overall, what I have tested so far, and a few early takeaways. After blasting through the first day, I made it to tier 4 and you can see some of the gameplay running in the background. Very early gear, the gear is pretty garbage at the moment. I will put the overall gear section at the end of the video so you can see where I am at my progression and what kind of damage I'm doing in clearing pit tier 60 in this video. First, something a lot of us, including me, misunderstood the FleshEater Change. If you have played this build before, you know that we typically spam Corpse Explosion between Blood Wave casts to keep the FleshEater buff active. The patch notes made it sound like as long as you consume a corpse, you can keep the 40% damage buff going indefinitely, but that's not exactly how it works. And in fact, reading it again, corpses consumed during the bonus duration will now count towards the refreshing the bonus. It does make more sense now. You still need to consume 5 corpses in between to keep the buff going, but before, the corpses you consumed would not count towards stacks if the FleshEater bonus is active. In the background, you're seeing a gameplay example. The FleshEater proc, you can see the 5 damage multiplier FleshEater buff, and then all the extra corpses you consume counts towards the stack again, and as long as you reach 5, there is no downtime, the FleshEater stays active. Before, you would still consume corpses, but if the FleshEater active, those will not count towards the stack, so the timer will expire and then you will consume more corpses and then the FleshEater will get activated again. So there was this gap in between in the rotation. So it's a little better. I mean, still quite better, but not as good as we thought initially. You can now keep the FleshEater full time, 100% uptime, as long as you keep up with the rotation. Well, what does this change? On my tier crafting, I was really hoping to have a lighter rotation with this in terms of having to cast Corpse Explosion. Like the idea, I was thinking that you could cast 1 Corpse Explosion at minimum within 6 seconds. As long as you cast 1 before the buff expires, you'll keep the FleshEater bonus going. With that idea though, was that we could potentially fit in a new Wandering Death beam power to get another huge multiplier, at least for the pit pushing variant. But now, having to really maintain 5 corpses, having to cast Blight, and then also cast Decompose every 2 seconds, it's probably not realistic rotation to execute for this build any longer. So we are sort of losing this another multiplier we could potentially get, because simply there is no room in the rotation. There is not enough time in the rotation to execute this. Another issue I'm seeing is that when you cast Decompose during the full resource, Harbinger boss power eats all your resources, which might really impact Cax Rune damage proc. So this also kind of counter interacts with the Wandering Death beam power. So yeah, lots of moving pieces here. I'll keep testing and report back. For now, I'm stepping back from the Wandering Death idea and reverting the guide to use Rework again. And stay tuned, I might find another interesting angle to make this work. But for now, while I'm gone, I want to play it a little bit safe. And once I get back, I will play test this a little bit more and keep you guys posted. One more thing I'll be testing while pushing pits, Lucky Hit Chance versus Blight Size. My initial impression is that Lucky Hit will be better. The extra Blight size doesn't feel that impactful because the size increase is kind of marginal, and Shadow Wave really already moves mobs around a lot, so the radius gain isn't doing much in my initial testing. So that's the first day update. Like I said, I'll be traveling over the next few days and didn't want to leave you hanging without context on what's been working and what hasn't. My goal, like last season, is to provide the best Blood Wave guide out there, backed by real testing, calculations, hands-on proof of what actually works. If you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. Your support genuinely helps me keep this hobby going strong. So with that being said, good to be back for season 8. Lord Sora here. I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.